I'm here with a good friend of mine, Bob Cummings, who's an officer here at the Sheriff's Department, the Haywood County Detention Center. And Bob also is an Orthodox priest and has the Ukrainian Orthodox Church just down the street from Grace at across from Bocelli's. And that's why Bob can't be with us in person. But he is so important to this Sunday morning presentation that we're here with the help of Tim Thrift and Alex Coimbray to make this tape. So, Bob, tell us a bit about what your job is here and about your own personal story with issues with addiction.
Sure. So my job here was created by Sheriff Wilkie. The idea was formed about 2 years ago. About a year and a half, he brought me on board, and the title is called Reintegration Program Manager, and the goal is to work with the people who keep coming in and out of the jail, because no one wants to come to jail, and if people keep coming to jail, there's a reason, and a lot of the reasons have to do with substance abuse, homelessness, mental health issues. So he created the position. He hired me because my background is in substance abuse, social work, and homeless services. I've been working in that field over 35 years. So my job is, from day one when people come in, I introduce myself, I begin to know them. I do what's called classification, which is a set of questions that helps us, on the one hand, determine the custody level, but it also gives me a chance to start that relationship. And somewhere in the midst of all that I'm starting to build the trust, and I'm looking at, why are you here? What's going on with you? You've been here 4 times the last year and a half. What's going on in your life that makes it happen? And the majority of the time that has to do with substance use, substance abuse, mental health issues, homelessness, but so often that's one great big ball, because those 3 issues come together to form a situation where people simply can't. They almost can't not do the things that bring them back into here. And you asked about my own background. I'm a man in long-term recovery. I have over 35 years alcohol and drug-free. And when I was growing up in the Chattanooga area, like most teenagers, I began I started drinking alcohol with my dad when I was about 6 years old, and began drinking probably heavily when I was about 10 or 11.
Wow.
Yeah. But my dad was alcoholic, so to him it was like him and his boy kind of doing their thing together, and it began to escalate. I began using drugs, and eventually the addiction kicked in, and I found myself in lots of negative situations. I found myself in jail in Chattanooga, and at some point, by the grace of God, a group of men took an interest in me and began showing me that there actually is this different world out there that I could be a part of. So, as we say in one of the recovering fellowships, we stood at the turning point, and I was at a turning point in my life.
Say that again. We stand at the turning point?
We stood at the turning point. Half measures avail us nothing. We stood at the turning point. And what that basically means is, at some point in our life, or different points in our life, we're faced with a choice of, I need to make a big decision. And for me, the decision was, I'm either going to kill myself and die, or I'm going to believe that the lifestyle that these people were talking about was actually something I could do. And one of their big influences was the fact that they emphasize that yes, I actually can do this. There actually is a world out there that doesn't involve this lifestyle and these problems.
So these are the men who helped mentor you at that point?
Yeah. Actually, interesting. One of them, it started out. One of my high school teachers, who I just stayed in contact with years after I left school. We just kind of kept in contact, and then at some point he asked me to become involved in his church. As I recall, he asked me to help cut firewood for poor people. I thought,
about how old are you at that point?
I'm sorry?
About how old are you at that point?
See, I'm thinking that's probably 25, 26.
Yeah.
And then that relationship eventually moved into, again, me learning that there was another world out there, one that I could actually get.
And tell us, Bob, a little bit about the recovery programs that you oversee
Okay.
here, as well as, don't you follow up with those who've been released
I do.
and hope that they will continue in AA or NA or some
Yes.
kind of group?
Yeah, I often say I do service after the sale. So anybody who comes through here, I give my phone number, my email, my business card, and I stay in touch with them. So what we have happening or going on here is we have men's Alcoholics Anonymous meetings that come every week. We have women's Alcoholics Anonymous meeting that meets on a Monday. We have a women's support group that meets on Tuesday mornings.
And say who that is, because people at Grace know Amy.
Amy Swanger is like one of my heroes. So she comes in every Tuesday at 8:30 in the morning, and she does this really neat meeting with the ladies, and they do everything from talk about addiction, to talk about recovery, to talk about mental health issues. I think this past Monday or Tuesday they went over some song lyrics and discussed those and discussed how they could how that was a positive influence on them.
Mm-hmm.
So Amy Swanger is just the bomb.
She calls it emotional wellness with Amy,
yeah,
I think.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
Amy, for many of you at Grace would have seen her at Bethel House also, and she is wonderful.
Oh yeah, she's super.
And then we just met a man
A
who
gentleman,
had
yes.
come in. We're here on a Wednesday.
Correct.
It's about 1:15 or so on a Wednesday, and Mark, well, I shouldn't say, but leads an NA meeting.
Yes, Narcotics Anonymous, Men's Narcotics Anonymous. And he comes in. He and a couple other gentlemen rotate. They come in every Wednesday. And they do an hour-long meeting. What's interesting is I can, because of security, I can have a maximum of 12 people in any meeting.
Okay.
And right now we have 12 people in the meeting, and I have 7 people on the waiting list.
Wow. Okay. More volunteers you could handle with more meetings.
Not necessarily.
Okay.
But in time, that's my hope, because as the program that I'm the manager of, the reintegration program grows, my hope is to have meetings daily, maybe more than one meeting daily.
What is the population here?
Number-wise?
Yeah.
We hover typically between 80 and 100.
And men to women?
Probably
numbers?
2 to 1.
About 2 to 1, okay.
Right.
And many, from what I learned earlier, are here waiting for a court appearance?
Okay, so in jail, typically in a jail, people haven't been convicted. So people they're on what's called pretrial. They've been brought in, they've been accused of a crime, or they've been caught doing a certain crime. They're brought in here, and if a judge determines the crime wasn't necessarily of a high level, or they don't present specifically a danger, they can bond out or they can be released under what's called unsecured bond. The majority of people that come here are people who've been here for a while awaiting trial. We do have some people who have been convicted and are actually doing their time here in jail, but the purpose of a jail isn't long-term incarceration.
Is not. Yeah.
It's not.
Yeah.
No. That's the prison system.
And the recovery groups, you've seen some successes, I
Oh,
hope.
heavens, yes.
Do you want to talk about that?
I'm also going to mention on Thursdays, we have another women's group that is run by the National Association for Mental Illness, or National Association of Mental Illness, NAMI. And it's 3 ladies, one of whom is Amy, who volunteer, and they have this really neat therapy dog named Mr. Darcy. And Mr. Darcy comes in with his owner, and they do a women's mental health group that is high in demand. Again, we have a maximum of 12. I've got, as of yesterday, 5 on the waiting list. And they come in for an hour-and-a-half meeting, and they'll do everything from artwork to songwriting to journaling, and they have a great time.
And once before, when I was waiting to see you, Bob, I met some of the people who come from a church and do Bible studies here as well.
Yes.
Because the women I talked to, I wrote a story, some of you know, about this whole programs that are going on here for the paper. And both of the women I talked to were so thankful that the Bible studies occur and they were not judged.
Right.
Because they thought that would be the case. And there was no sense of that at all. And one of them said, "I'm reading the Bible for the first time truly in my life."
I know who you're talking about, and
Yeah.
she was awesome. She was neat.
Yeah.
We have a very active chaplaincy volunteer program.
Oh, yeah. Speak about that a little bit.
Okay, we have what you mentioned on Tuesdays. We have it's everything from Bible studies to just time spent. We have volunteer chaplains who come in and spend time with the men, the women. And the people who come in want to be here. So they're not going to be judgmental. I mean, if somebody is judgmental or they just want to, preach to people, we kind of weed those out. These are people who love the inmates, who want to get to know the inmates, who want to be a good witness of love and of Christ to the inmates. So they come in on Tuesdays. We have a group that comes in on Thursdays. We have some people who come in on Saturdays. We have some folks who come in and do Sunday morning services. There's a surprisingly large number of things going on here in the jail for the people who are here, for the inmates. And inmates respond. We have, all the Bible study groups have a lot of people in them. All the mental health groups, the recovery groups, people want to go in there. People want to get well. I mean, people, I emphasize this. No kid, when they're growing up, says, I can't wait to grow up and break the law and go to jail. No kid does that. So the fact that people are here, there's stuff that goes on in their lives that leads to decisions that brings them here. But nobody wants to be here.
I think many of you know, but maybe not everybody, where the detention center is. If Bob and I look that way, we see the Ingalls on Brown Avenue, and just over there, around by that light pole, you'll find Pathways, which was the original jail.
Yes,
wasn't
correct.
it, for Haywood County? And so many of the wonderful members of Grace have dedicated a lot of time and effort to bring meals there, as well as to Bethel House, of course. So. We're very, very blessed by the people with whom we go to church.
Awesome.
So,
good.
Well, Bob, thank you.
Well, thank you.